All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is your favorite dark sorcerer here. And today I want to talk to you about common ground from a religious and philosophical practice perspective. Throughout all the systems that I have studied and practiced over 30 years, there are two identifying markers that are in place. The first is education. Education within any given system allows you to know what you are practicing, why things work, and how it falls together. When you look at, for an example, alchemy, the alchemical change, the spiritual invocations or evocations, okay, of summonings, what is it about the herbs that you utilize? What is it about the geometric shapes that you use, such as the circle of empowerment or the triangle of evocation? Okay, maybe even the hexagram or the alchemical seals and symbols utilized to identify the origins and the markers of a spirit for a particular spell or a ritual or even a ceremony. You see, all of this is done through study, research, complete fealty of intense immersion within the past, through mythological, through historical, and through scientific and religious commitment, dedicate, dedication, and repetition within your given field of practice. It does not matter if you are a necromancer. It does not matter if you are a Satanist, a voodoo practitioner, or even a Palo practitioner, even a shaman. Study and practice is right there. Okay. This is why this is one of the most important identifying markers through any religious or philosophical practice. And the second identifying marker is your religious worship. Okay. Now, what do I mean by religious worship? Are we talking JCI, Judo Christian institutions worth of dedicated prayer, worship, calling on them? In a sense, yes. Except for I'm not talking from a Christian perspective. I'm talking from a left hand path perspective. Here, you want to dedicate your house, your apartment, your inner sanctum, your outer sanctum, with idolatry. Okay. And this is why it is to visually announce to you that this is the path you're on. Satanists like Baphomet. Baphomet is one of the oldest known depictions of a devil, forms of idolatry. Goes all the way back to the Knights of Templar, the Crusades, much like the Angelus Prayer or the Black Fast. Okay? Here, you dedicate your time to worship a particular deity. Again, through your studies, your practices, you view a lot of information from your studies and your practices to identify that particular spirit. You take, for an example, Supe in Incan, Anubis in Egyptian, Hades in Greek, just to name a couple. These are lords of dead. These are the lords of death. Kind of like Hecate, Hel, Inanna, Astarte, Persephone, goddesses of the underworld, goddesses of the dead. You see the commonalities. But how would you know this if you did not know their history, their mythology, from the world's mythologies, their pantheons? That is why the identifying markers is not only religious worship, but also study, intense study and practice. These are practices that will benefit you as a practitioner for your entire career within magic, sorcery, and spirituality. A young man's game is literally warfare. When you get into your older self, you tend to get into spirituality. Spirituality is a means, not as you worshiping a god, but learning from gods to become a god. Now, what do I mean by that? When you look at your evolution, your personalized growth, you are transforming yourself, your flesh, your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit to becoming something more. It's called self mastery, self evolution. Look at the Russian immortal known as Kakashi, for an example, how he went to Baba Yaga to become an immortal, and that soul was locked inside numerous objects hidden in an unknown location. He was known as Kakashi the Immortal. He was a lek, a necromancer, highly feared because of what he knew and what he practiced. When we look at this sense, you are in fact transforming yourself into something more, something better. When you practice magic, that is a source of alchemical change. You are transforming the energy and the currents within you at the same time to master those outside of yourself. When you learn to master yourself, then you can learn to master the world. A man who does not learn from history is doomed to repeat it. To give a man a fish feeds him for a day. To teach a man how to fish feeds him for life. No matter what religious foundation that you have in place, you are going to find commonalities, the layovers of older religious practices that have been demonized, rejected by society and by the church. The more you delve into history and mythology of the world, you're going to come to realize the enlightening factor. What you know today is an illusion. It is a lie. You want to become an immortal. You want to become a god. Even the JCI Bible itself says that God feared that the day you eat of that apple, that you will become as a god, knowing both good and evil. That is Genesis chapter 3, verse 5. Even if you fast forward to verse 22, it says, "And your Lord God said, here is man who has become like one of us," meaning you have become a god. And this is in the book of Genesis, just in chapter 3. Think about that for just a moment. For those of you who live by that creed, you see, as a left hand path practitioner, you're not bound by one philosophy. You have the right and the will to find that motivation to go out and seek the truth. You have a computer, you have a cell phone, you have internet. We live in a time where all you need is right here. Utilize it. Become the God that you're meant to be, the God or goddess that you are meant to be. Knowledge is power, and true knowledge is undefiled wisdom. Anton Zandalave. Have a good day.